Hi, welcome to Shift, PwC Canada's podcast series, and we're digging into key digital trends and topics that can make your business transformation a reality. I'm your host, John Finkelstein, and I'm also the Creative Director of PwC Canada. This is our inaugural podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the journey to omnichannel. Claire, but thank you so much for joining us. And why don't you just take a second and tell us kind of who you are and what you've been up to and why you're the person to be talking about omnichannel, because I absolutely believe you are.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. First of all, I'm VP of Strategy and Business Insights for Lowe's Canada. Mm-hmm. So I've been in that role since the acquisition. So it's been 15 months now that Rona got acquired by Lowe's. Previously, I was working for Rona as a VP of Marketing, Digital, CRM, and Business Insights. So obviously, with this new time for Lowe's Canada comes a lot of questions and a lot of opportunities. And omnichannel is one big opportunity in our journey.
So that's a great segue, because omnichannel might be the biggest buzzword since transformation.
Yeah.
Everybody, everywhere you go, everywhere you read, omnichannel this, omnichannel that. And it's almost like people are everyone seems to have their own definition. So why do you think everybody's talking about omnichannel right now?
I think that's a good question. I think the reason why everybody's talking about it and the reason why it's so important, it's because it's customers that are requesting it. It's part of their new expectations. Customers today, they're living in a world where they want no friction. They want, when they interact with their brands, no matter what touch point, they want to live a seamless and consistent experience. So this is the reason why it's so important.
How do you know that's what they want?
But I think you just have to observe consumer behaviors and the way they interact today with brand, with retailers. It's a world where there's multiple touch points and it's going to keep on increasing. So you can just observe the way customer, what type of research they're doing online, what type of reason they're talking to companies through call centers or emails, and when you go to the stores in a retailer case. So all of this screaming about their expectation and their needs and their wants. So this is how you can understand why is omnichannel important for a customer and how you can build up your plan to answer to their expectations.
How would you define omnichannel for people in its most simplistic form?
I think from a consumer standpoint, the request or the expectation is, today I'm a consumer, I'm interacting with your brand, your stores, through different way. I'm interacting through your website, I'm interacting when I go to your store or when I am going on social media. And what customers expect is when they're interacting, they want to live an experience that's going to be consistent, fluid, and seamless. So I don't want to be told, oh, no, this is something that you've seen on a website, it's not in a store. Oh, no, well, even though you talk to somebody on a call center, I cannot help you with that because that's a different department. So I think this is very concretely what omnichannel is about, how we can make sure, as many more touchpoints have been created over the last years, how we can make sure that each touchpoint customer is being served in a way that really answers to his expectation, and it also being recognized. It's also the brand's responsibility to personalize, because now I know who you are. I know why you came to my store. I know what you did on my website previously. So I need to be able to provide you with a better answer on that specific request today.
It's interesting that you talk about the personalization part of it, because I think a lot of people think about multi-channel and omni-channel as being interchangeable.
No.
And they're not.
No.
So how would you describe the difference?
Well, for me, multi-channel was in a world where, yes, customer is going online, yes, customer is calling call center. So everybody is managing the customer in this specific sandbox and answering to his request. But the minute you wanted to make a connection between, and sometimes very simple things, you're going to a store, you want something, store doesn't have it. Can you check another store, one of your stores, if it does have it? And many stores today still saying, no, I cannot have access to their inventory. So for me, that was the multi-channel, I think. But now the expectation is, no matter where I'm interacting with you, I want to be able to have an answer and to be served, in that way. So that's the biggest difference for me. And there's still many companies today that are organized in a multi-channel way. So you got a database of customer for your e-com or your digital order, database of customer that use this specific services, and database of customer for even some specific stores. So this is changing. This is really has to change everything and break silos and create a world where we can put all this information together in order to recognize and personalize to that specific customer.
That's right. The people first.
Yeah.
How are we going to serve the people
Yes.
however they want to be served?
Yes.
So what does it mean for Lowe's then in particular? So
we have a big opportunity in front of us because Lowe's Canada, it's first of all, it's 8 different brands and banners. So yes, we got the Rona brand, but most Canadians are familiar with the Lowe's banner. But in reality, we've got 8 different banners across the country. Some are more regional, some are more national. We have B2B brands, specifically serving pro customer. So for us, the complexity and the opportunity is how we deploy toward that omni-channel journey for all of our banners. So this is...
that sounds really complex.
It is complex, and we have also a network of stores, multi-format. We've got corporate store, we've got affiliate store. So that adds to the complexity, but that also is a big opportunity because we are touching lots of customers across the country with all of our banners. Actually, it's 87% of Canadians today that live 30 minutes or less through any of our stores.
87%
Yeah.
live 30 minutes or less from a Rona store.
For whatever brand, it's
Whatever
not
brand,
just
yeah.
Rona, it's Lowe's, it's Ace, it's and more, all of those regional banner I was referring
Wow.
to. So this is the challenge for us.
Right. How do you guys want to activate or create an omni-channel journey that's going to be really powerful, differentiated? I mean, what does it really mean for you? Because it's
And that's the journey we're on. So for us, there's a big objective is how we help all of those brands to deliver on that experience, that seamless experience across all of the touch points. How we enabling the brands to recognize, personalize. So that's the vision, that's where we want to go. But also how we deploy our resource internally, because it's all those groups supporting the banners, thinking, if you think about marketing, digital, supply chain, CRM, so how all those groups align to support and deliver that omni-channel experience for all those 8 different banners. So for us, that's this puzzle we have to put in the right place.
I'm really curious. How do you communicate that corporately or organizationally? It's like you have a vision, and you have all these different banners, all these different employees. You know, from management to people on the floor. How do you communicate? That's the challenge.
That's a very good question. And well, the first thing is we have a team. I have a team dedicated to strategy, and in my role is to build the strategy, but communication is as important as building the strategy. And I would even dare to say that if your strategy is not really good, but your communication is excellent, you may be in a better position than the other way, which is not the case. Our strategy is very good. But to communicate, so first you need to have your plan. You need to have it align with all the leadership team, make sure we all align, we all understand, because everybody will cascade it across their own group. But me personally, the way I approach it, and I guess it's part of my marketing background, I approach this as a really an important communication. I more approach it as a product launch. So to give you an example,
as a
for
product
me,
launch.
there's a ton of materials. We've done videos, we've done visuals, we've got narratives, because you need to adapt to all the groups you're interacting. And currently I'm in the middle, I'm almost completed, but the middle of an important cascading sessions. I've got 16 sessions across the country, going through all division, all banners, explaining the vision, what does it mean for their brands, how we're going to align the support group to help them achieve to that vision. So and we are going to have other sessions for store director or stores employee that will even bring it to a much simpler perspective, because you don't want to overwhelm people. You don't want to scare them with those big words. You want to make sure they understand the benefits for the customer, but also for them. Mm-hmm. So that's communication is key. Tools is important. Engagement is important. I need to be spread across the whole company, because omnichannel is not the responsibility of a strategy team, of a digital team, of a marketing team, of a supply chain team. It's the responsibility of all groups in the company.
You talk to people, and you talk to customers, and it's like, okay, I had a vision, and then did you allow yourself the opportunity to sort of shape it and change it depending on what you heard?
In our process, we spend lots of time, lots of energy on the customer piece.
Customer first.
Customer first, and then this helps you define what you want to do when you talk about omnichannel. What are their behavior? What are their expectations? And we've actually put what is our own priority based on that. So even though we were saying earlier, yes, everybody's talking about it, and I think it's very good for a company to define what does it mean for their category of product, for their customer, and so make sure we align the action plan and the priorities towards those customer priorities.
I think that's a really important point, actually, for people who are listening. It's so easy to go, okay, well, we need omni-channel, and this is how you do it, and without really thinking about what do you need to do from an omni-channel perspective that's specific to your brand, specific to your business, right? Because, Lowe's is going to be different than, an electronics retailer or a fashion retailer.
Yeah, there's no such thing as the best recipe in omnichannel. The best one is the one you're going to build, coming from your customer expectations. And you're right, depending on the categories of product.
As you go down the journey of implementing the vision, how do you respond to competitive threats as you see them in real time?
That's a good question, and you don't have a choice. You need to work on both levels. You need to have your master plan, your building blocks toward that vision of omnichannel, but you also need to be testing and innovating and doing smaller scale project to help you be able to grab a new opportunity on React. And at Lowe's, we're fortunate because we have an entity in the US, the Lowe's Innovation Lab, and they're doing this on a regular basis. I think it's part of any leader's responsibility, actually, to, if you're not testing something new at this exact moment, if you don't have something going on, you're missing the boat, and you're not developing that ability to react quickly, be nimble, and bring on all that learning and all that benefit of doing those kind of projects.
So it sounds to me like you guys have two streams.
Yeah.
The stream which is implementing the omnichannel vision as you've created it and kind of sticking to that. And a similar stream is innovation. Where can we find new opportunities to connect with people that's meaningful, that helps us differentiate our brand? So whether it's AR, VR, home delivery in a new interesting way, you have drones, whatever, and then kind of, coming together and integrating them as need be.
Yes, absolutely. And because omnichannel is a journey, it will keep on evolving. Customer expectation will not stay as they are today. They will keep on changing and changing faster and faster. So as you're going to test new technology, and you mentioned AI and VI, something I think is going to be very, very disruptive is the home assistant device, like Google Home. So as you're going to be testing and doing things that are new, innovative things, one of those will influence the omnichannel journey, also could influence, and then you can integrate in your master plan. Mm-hmm. So need definitely to work on both levels.
So I'm really curious, as you look in the world at sort of leading brands who are leading these omnichannel experiences, who do you see out there that's doing it really well?
I think every company that is approaching its industry or coming with a solution that has never been brought before, for me, would be an example. And so it doesn't matter on the size, on the scale, it's that capacity of being the first to think of somebody. But I think lately the innovation that really is, for me, really, really interesting and disruptive is a home device assistant. The Google Home, the Alexa. I think this is something that is going to be as disruptive as the smartphone was a couple of years ago. So.
Yeah, for sure. You've talked about, digital assistants, AI, 3D printing, augmented reality, virtual reality. Do you see these things changing the game for you at
Yes, absolutely. In our industry, there's a perfect fit, and augmented reality, virtual reality. When you think about what is preventing people to actually perform project in a category of product, usually they don't have the time, they don't have the skills. So the augmented reality device is really answering to one of that needs, and can picture. In the future, everybody at home would have the ability to put on a program, and before you're tiling your shower or before you're changing your toilets, you're going to be able to perform it in a virtual world. So that's also a tool that is very useful for our employees when you need to train new employees, and you want those people, when they interact with customers, they have a knowledge and they went through similar type of experience. So for me, definitely this is super applicable in our industry. And you talk about 3D printers, it's the same. It's something actually the Lowe's Innovation Lab tests in one of our stores in New York. So customer can come in and want a specific part, and you just give a model and you print it for them. So all of those exciting innovation are very, very important to us, and this is why we are already investing in and testing those.
So bringing Lowe's vision of omnichannel to reality, is there anything getting in the way? What kind of challenges are you facing?
So the complexity is the scale, because I was referring about a number of banners. I was referring with all the groups that Omnichannel is touching. So there's two things. You need to align everybody. You need to have your master plan. And one element that is key is speed, because there's so many groups, so many elements that are embedded into that journey. You can think about technology by itself could be a big one, and there could be a temptation to say, let's wait until we have this new system, let's wait until we have this platform. So I think waiting is not an option. So there's all different elements involved. As you need to have your vision, but you need to have your supporting your people, the structure you have, the tools you have. So work to make sure that you're not static and that you're moving toward that direction without waiting for any component of it. So I think because it's a journey, sometimes people get excited at the beginning, but then they disengage because they think it's going to take too much time. So I think it's important that you release, you make progress, you communicate, and you pursue, and you monitor, and you keep on going. So for me, that's the biggest challenge, because it's going to be a journey. You need to make sure everybody is on it and make sure everybody stay on it, and that we're delivering on a regular basis. But at the same time, as you're building capabilities, I'm thinking supply chain, I'm thinking digital, I'm thinking CRM, you need to right away think about how we're going to be supporting those banners in that journey, because then we can deploy something that will be applicable right away to all of the banners. So it's a balance toward the vision.
We're going to just shift now into sort of the end here, and I'm just curious about what advice could you give to some of our listeners who are starting to create omnichannel visions and plans for their own companies, their own organizations?
I would say, I would start by saying, do basic steps. It could be overwhelming, especially if you start reading about omnichannel, and you may end up thinking, my goodness, it's going to take forever, it's going to take a lot of money. And so I would say, understand what it means for your customer. Understand your customer expectation. How do they want to interact with their brand? How are they doing it? What are they doing it at each touch point? So make sure you understand that, and have your own definition, what it means for you. Would be the first steps, but also align everybody, not just your leadership team, but everybody in your organization, to understand what does it mean, why you're doing it, because everybody's going to be involved. I also try to work with people that have experience, that went through this process, so that you're not going to be alone on that journey, because it could be overwhelming. So that would be another element. And the other thing is referring to what I was saying earlier. Yes, have your master plan, but also make sure you're releasing project, make sure you're releasing pieces of it, so that you're keeping on moving and having everybody engaged in that journey.
Having a proper omnichannel vision or execution is really going to be the difference between companies that we love and thrive, mm-hmm. and the ones that they just disappear.
Yeah, and something important you could do, have people connected directly with your customer. Something I've done recently is putting every leaders in a leadership group going at a call center and listening to customer. That is very basic. Or sharing email, or sharing. We've done the survey on Pinpoint. So this is another powerful tool that would help everybody engage toward that journey. And you could do the same thing with your employees. Sometimes employees, they're very critical in this journey, but really put yourself in their shoes and see what type of tools, what type of training they have to answer to those customers that are coming to their store with those expectations. So that also could be something very powerful to do as part of the early stage.
Claire, thanks so much for spending time with us, sharing some of your successes and where Lowe's is going. I think it's really super interesting and a very exciting thing to be watching for Canadians and for everybody, to be quite frank. So hopefully we can check back in with you in a year from now to see where it's going, what you're seeing.
Well, thank you. Absolutely. We should do that.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Shift. You can get more details at pwc.com/ca/shift. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, subscribe to our podcast series. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, or your preferred podcast platform. Just so you know, This podcast has been prepared by PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP, an Ontario limited liability partnership for general guidance on matters of interest only, and does not constitute professional advice. Until next time.